All right. Well, today we're going to look at Connecticut. I think I pronounced it right. Let's look at this. It's a small, tiny state. Probably from my research, hopefully it's right, it's the last one in New England, apparently. Not in the Northeast region, it's just the New England, which is, interesting way. I think there are 6 states, if I'm not mistaken. I want to look at a bit of the data at first, because from whatever reason, we dive deep into those street views and 360. And I always forgot to look at the data a bit more, so I'm gonna start with that now. This is the flag, which is pretty nice. We have some grapes here, and this is the seal. What I'm interested in, first of all, the population. That's the first thing I'm gonna go for. It's 3.6 million people, and they have a minor increase. I can say it's a neutral increase, not that much. Median household income, kind of a weird way to make those numbers, probably because they want to have it higher. In my opinion, should be like the minimum guaranteed wage. That would be the first one. And then the medium wage per person, not household, not any of that bullshit. Per person, that's it. They probably try to drag those numbers up, and that's why they came with those things. So yeah, 3.6 million in the states. Lowest elevation, 0 meters, so clearly they have the coastline. Highest elevation, 725 meters. Which is again not that high, so I guess they don't have that much mountains. Average 150 meters elevation. We have here in feet for the American viewers, but probably they already know that they live there. What I'm interested, let's see what else they have here. Area not that interesting, not exactly my expertise. So let's look at some images here. You have the American Revolution, as you can see here, some maps. They have some palm trees here, as you can see. View of the New London. Wow, that was called the Civil War era, the New London in 1854, just before the Civil War. New London, wow. That's a pretty big statement. I mean, look at this. New London is right here. New Haven, my God. Having like heaven now. And Hartford, I guess, is the capital. Pretty interesting views, I would say. Americans always like, clearly, and not just Americans, humans always like straight lines. Nature, not so much, but that's a different discussion again. Wow, this is the temperature, I guess. What is that? No, the monthly no high and low temperature variation. Probably that, yeah, in Fahrenheit. I had no idea to read those, but I guess for the American viewers, it's gonna be much easier. For us Europeans, not that great. Race and ethnicity. Oh, that's pretty good. White, non-Hispanic. Wow, they are white Hispanic? What the fuck? White, non-Hispanic. 66% alone and total. What the fuck is the difference? 63, I guess I go with the low numbers to be sure. Hispanic and Latino, 17%. Kind of weird to have Hispanic and Latino. Look at this, how far away from any Spanish country, I would say. Yeah, even here up north, they took over. African Americans, non-Hispanic. African American to Hispanic, what the fuck is that? African American, non-Hispanic. They kind of insist on these Hispanic and Latinos. Pretty interesting. So white 66, Hispanic 17%, 11% for Negroes, Asian 5.5, Native Americans. Wow, look at this, just 1.1%, and for some reason nobody cares that much about this group. Probably the whites care much more about these ones, but the whites, I would say, not the left ones. And it seems like, yeah, look at this. There are not that many left, to be honest, but they have a few pockets each and there, but not that much. But that's a different story, obviously. Pacific Islanders, 0.1. What the fuck? From where we got Pacific Islanders here? That's crazy, but okay. What else can we find? And others, 2.1%. God knows what that means. We have here, birth rates here. Pretty unstable, I would say, but again, different discussion. Religion, Protestants, 35%. Catholics, 33%. Wow, that's pretty high. And non-affiliation, I guess, 28%. Jews, 3%. Wow, that's a huge one. Mormons 1%, Eastern Orthodox 1%, less than just 1%, so not that much, as you can see. But Jews 3%, Jews, wow, pretty big. And also none, 28%, also pretty big. Catholics and Protestants, yeah, it kind of makes sense for them, but makes sense more for the Protestants. And after all, it's still a now British colony, for God's sake. But yeah, I guess even that, it kind of wears out with time. Talking about the whites pushing out, and pretty soon it's gonna be not the majority of group, at least less than 50%. I'm sure it's gonna be like in a minority exactly, but it's gonna be like less than 50%. That's the first step. Then it's gonna be on the not the largest group, and then slowly but surely it's gonna be a minority and so on. So I guess it started even with those small data like religion, for example, and you kind of work their way up from there. But again, probably I'm gonna make some series of videos. We're talking about the white population, ours pretty much. Party unaffiliated 42%. What the fuck that even means? Democrats 35% and Republicans 20%. I get it is more Democratic here than Republicans, but unaffiliated 42%. What is that? I mean, like they're every county individual that they choose that they are unaffiliated, or just overall on the state level, which I don't think so, because probably the governor is going to be one of those Democrats or Republicans. So here probably it's going to be like Democratic. I don't think they're going to have like a governor, at least not that many states, in my opinion, that they're going to have like unaffiliated from any parties, or minor parties like 1.6%. But again, a bit weird, but I'm sure there are more layers to that than it seems. Wow, they have even motorsports here. That's pretty good. Look at those Aston Martins here. They have like Lime Rock, a home of the American Le Mans series. I don't know exactly why they call it Le Mans series, American Le Mans series. Like, it's like a cheap copy, in my opinion. You just call it different else. Like, yeah, you took the event, more or less. You don't have to call it exactly how the European call it. Just make it like the Endurance American series or something like that, or a new name. You don't have to copy everything. It feels cheap in the end, and I don't think that's the message you want to send. Yeah, Native Americans, I don't think we're going to look into that right now. It's just way too much information there to squeeze it here. So yeah, we're going to start with this with the Connecticut. Connecticut, I think they call it, yeah, Connecticut. The last state in New England, at least not the official New England, I would say. You can see straight lines, not that big. They have an opening to the sea, very close to New York City, which is, I guess, pretty good. So we're gonna look exactly how those people live and how rich they are, I guess. I don't know. As always, randomly on the map. Don't choose the good sides, don't choose the bad side, just random. This is what, 2012? Wow. Now we have a 2025. That's much better. Okay, so nice grass. Again, one of those lawn motored machine that they do the job pretty good. They have some sewage here, which again is pretty good. Roads, very nice indeed. They have an Infinity, so horrible choice of the car in my opinion, but I guess it is what it is. Now, this is clearly a classic American, I would say. And the gay flag right here. Not sure exactly why the Americans keep putting those signs in their yard, like they wanna let everybody knows that they support a different group or another, which is kind of a weird. We don't have that in Europe that much, at least. It's like, yeah, support it, fine, no problem, but it's just, what's the point of putting it in your front yard? It's just, I don't know, doesn't make much sense to me. But here in the housing department, very well. Look at this chimney from the outside. Not exactly very efficient, but it looks pretty interesting. Clearly a colonial style, I would say, house. They're looking really nice. And look at this lamp. Clearly this is gonna be like a rich neighborhood. I mean, look at this, how they look. Just great. 25 miles an hour speed limit. That's way too low. Again, look at this nice clear lines. I want to look at this one, for example. I mean, I see something. Look at these garages here, pretty nice. And this house, a bit more trees would be nice, but again, looking very, very well. Clearly a very rich area, definitely. Very rich area. I mean, like, look at this. That's, again, three-car garage. That's insane. They're doing very, very well in this part of the state and also part of the country. We have a sign here. I'm not sure exactly what they say. Car detailing in progress. Detail lab, and call the number. I mean, probably they're doing pretty well with those car details. I mean, I can see clearly they have a customer here. Probably they have already the equipment outside, and judging by the house, They're doing very well indeed. So I guess good for him. What else we have here? Nice rocks here, nice mail boxes there. I mean, yeah, it just feels very American. That's America. That's when I go to America, it's so many different Americans in one country, I would say. On the east, we have this colonial style, very classic, very quiet neighborhoods. I would say like this one, very nice, very enjoyable, expensive, nevertheless. But you go then in California, different vibe. Go then in Texas, different vibe. Go in Oklahoma, different. Nebraska, different. I mean, there's so many to choose from. I have no idea how in one lifetime you can actually see them all in detail and living in every single one of those. Not to mention Alaska, Hawaii, way different. Florida, again, way different. Probably you need to have like 50 lives to just actually live in every single state. There are 50 different Americans. I mean, maybe it's a bit exaggerated, 50 different Americans, but they're clearly distinctive groups because it's way too different. Look at the region, the housing, the roads, the infrastructure. Everything is so different when you go coast to coast, center, or to coast. It's just, and everyone they have their own beauty, as you can have here. I mean, like, if you go Americans, probably not gonna think like that for most of the people, at least from what we see now on the TV. If you like some sort of a crap apartments in New York, which is, I'm not gonna stay there. Probably I'm gonna prefer to stay this one than spend like $1 million. I'm not sure exactly how expensive one of those houses it is, but I will not spend, let's say, for example, one of those houses cost $1 million. I'd rather live here than in the crappy apartment in New York City. It's just, look at this, much nicer, much more space, much clearer, much greater. Yeah, overall in this neighborhood here, they're doing very well. And like I say, we're going randomly on the map as always, and judging from above, yeah, you can see that's a clear make neighborhood like that. But if you go here, I'm not sure exactly this is the capital. Probably it is, judging by the map. I remember a few moments earlier. Not sure exactly. I want to check these ones. I mean, probably here is not going to be that bougie, but yeah, as you can see, a much, again, let's using the American terms, a much lower income neighborhood. But keep in mind, this is 2011. So yeah, maybe things change a bit by now, but clearly you can see that cannot change that much. The land, the way they build the housing cannot change all that much. So pretty much it's basically the same as almost, I don't know, it's like 20 years ago, almost, not even close, no, like 15 years ago. They're doing, again, pretty decent. It's an American style. That's why you kind of get used to it when you think like American style of living, things like that. The other one that we said at first, like that was like the richest of the richest. That's the dream, I would say, in this part of the country. Here it seems like a social housing to me. I'm not sure, but feels like that. Cables doesn't look so appealing to me. Houses that they have 2 entries on every single one of those duplex, I would say. So I guess they live like 4 families there or something like that, or 4 different tenants. I think they call it tenants. Yeah. Judging by the parking lot, some of them they're doing pretty well in the car department, but not so great, like I see here, in the housing department. So I guess when you move to those, how should I split them to make a bit more sense? From what we saw first with those rich neighborhoods, probably people that living in those neighborhoods, probably, I'm not, obviously I'm not sure, 100% sure, probably those people don't go to work for living, or at least they don't have to, or maybe they have some sort of a business, but clearly they don't go, most of them don't go to work for someone else. Here you have to be much closer to the activities, the main ones, I would say. So you have to move inside one of those cities, which is much more expensive and not much appealing, as you can see, especially more expensive with time. And clearly it's a difference when people that have money, maybe they have like, I don't know, stock portfolio, they have bonds, they get dividends and all that good stuff. They have properties in a city that they collect rent, God knows. But clearly it feels like those people in those neighborhoods They could live very well if they don't leave their neighborhood in a way. I mean, they have really good lives. For example, they can stay like 4 or 5 days a week in their house and in their backyards with pools, whatever they have there, and still be pretty happy. Here, although it's a bit different story, you kind of have to go out of the house. You have to go to a job 5 days a week. Those guys can stay home 5 days a week, and 2 days just going outside for fun activities. This one, it feels exactly in the mirror, I would say. At least that's how it feels to me. And I think it's available for pretty much all the countries, but now being in America, it's much more clearly that, I would say. I'm not saying like every single, there could be some people that stay on the social benefits on those houses too. Or also some people that they like to be close to the center of the town and still they're doing very well with money. That's what I'm saying. When we're gonna fix the money, we're gonna see a lot of people moving outside the cities, and also in the cities, as you can see here. Look at how jammed they are. Probably they're gonna say some state intervention at some point, and gonna say, look, we are gonna take those lands, take those houses from you. We're gonna give you lands, whatever you want, bigger land. You're gonna like it, so you're gonna take it because yeah, you wanna move outside. And probably gonna see like one property when it used to be like 3 or 5, or maybe they start to they think like building something else, like I don't know, large portion of parks or pretty much underdeveloped areas. I mean, like it takes a lot of money to take care of those roads, infrastructure like cables, electricity, gas pipe if they have those. If they don't, good for them. Sanitation, all that stuff. So it's probably in the future, not this century, probably the next one. This one is gonna be like a bit stretch if I say that we're gonna see it in our lifetime. Probably next century we're gonna see those kind of politics when there's just they're not appealing. This one it's a bit better. This one they can stand, but depends the way. Like I said, depends a lot how people move and how cheap it becomes to build one of those houses, and how less bureaucratized, I would say, it becomes to build a house. When we have that, then we can move pretty much whatever you want in a nice clear area, as we can see in the first part of this video with those houses. People gonna choose that, and we're gonna move there. I'm not sure exactly when they're gonna have, let's say, all the money in the world, every single one of them, and whatever they want, how the behavior is gonna change, if they're gonna truly stay 5 days a week inside their properties, inside the homes, and 2 of them they're gonna choose to go outside, let's say to the beach or to the mountains, or it's gonna be exactly the opposite. 5 days a week you're gonna stay outside the house and you're gonna enjoy all kinds of activity, and 1 or 2 days you're gonna stay inside to enjoy. Yeah, so far probably it's like you don't have a great house, you're better off with a life living outside the house, like going to work, going have fun and all that stuff. If you have a nice house right now, probably it's exactly the opposite. It's much more nice to stay, but if you have a nice house, you also have a lot of money and a lot of time in the same time, so you're gonna enjoy also some sort of a life outside the house. But from what I understand, this is a pretty big one. That's an interesting Honda here. I don't think they sell it in Europe, but in Europe, Honda, it's extremely expensive. For the American markets, probably it's not that much. I think they sell it in Europe. One very, very interesting thing that I just stumbled upon that is that people that live in gated community, which is pretty well spread in the United States compared to Europe, they seems to have less interaction with their neighborhood. They don't even know the neighbors, for God's sake. And in the Western Europe is the same. Here in the Eastern Europe, not so much. You have a neighbor, probably like in the first week, you just know everything about them. And if it's, sometimes I have big neighborhoods and you don't talk that much with them, but if it's a good one, I mean, like every week you're gonna meet that guy in your house or his house, and that's how it works here. But yeah, in the Western Europe, and especially in the Americas, in those gated communities, it seems like they don't have that much interaction. I mean, like they have neighbors, like I don't know, the next house, the next door, and they don't know each other. Most of them in those neighborhoods. I think like, yeah, when you go watch a movie and you can see somebody moves out, they're gonna go to say the welcome in the neighborhood and all that stuff, give them a basket of pasta, whatever they have there. Those clearly, I believe those exist too. But in those gated community, when people do a lot of money, and there are people that are working, for example, in tech, that they don't have that much time, they're active working, that they didn't go for the, sometimes people, they don't like to go for those quiet lifestyles, I would say that. Buy some stocks, doing well. Like I said, you're working for the first 10, 15, 20 years of your life, and then you rely on the market capital to just take care of you. But some of them, they keep working. I mean, like, good for them. I mean, like, there are people that actually enjoy what they're doing. For most of us, yeah, you kind of go to work because you have to, not because you enjoy that much. But again, that's a different discussion. But for those people, again, one of those gay flags here, and they let anyone knows that they support some sort of a group, which is kind of strange. Again, you don't see that many, but sometimes you see them, and it's a bit weird. And the next door neighborhood clearly really enjoys America and the gay flag, as you can see. They even have it on the goddamn door, for God's sake. Unfortunately, it doesn't take care of the roof of the house that much, that well, compared with those flags. Probably they polish those flags every day. And we have a classic American here with just the American flag, for God's sake, and that's it, nothing more. I think that they pay $20 a year if you hang the American flag, or $10, I'm not sure. But that's interesting fact. Like, the U.S. government give money away. Can you imagine? I have like millions and millions of homes. Probably I have like how much? 100 millions of homes, something like that. No, probably it's even more than that. Imagine like every single one of them put a flag, and they have to send a check every year for $10, for example, for every house. You spend $1 billion on just flags, for God's sake. But it's interesting, I guess. That's the American way. Yeah, so those people living in those gated community, wow, look at this one. It's actually cannot go there for whatever reason. Probably it's like some sort of a kindergarten there, as you can see. Yeah, but it's kind of in the middle of the road at the same time. That's weird. Living in those gated community, they don't have that much interaction with the neighborhood. Again, like, they kind of isolate themselves. So I mean, I'm a bit curious if that's gonna happen to the rest of us when you're gonna start living in those nice homes like these ones. I mean, like, that's a real American house, for God's sake. I mean, a real American neighborhood also. Look at this, the space that they have, the road, it's impeccable. The land, very, very big, very nice. Look at those rocks here. I mean, like, when you see the old colonial movies in America, I would say, and you see like George goes to establish, I don't know, some sort of a plan for taking back the country from the British and all kind of stuff. You kind of imagine going in the neighborhood in a house like this, not those jamming ones that they have today, I guess. So yeah, like I said, in America is clearly much better hopes for the individual people to live a better life, even in isolation. But it's still much better than you see in Europe. I'm gonna make some comparison videos at some point that compare the housing market, American housing with European housing, and I'm gonna make like exactly how you see here in the Google Street Views. We're gonna go through the tabs and see the differences one of one. And probably it's gonna be some sort of a shock because you can see it, but you don't see it close together like one of one. And I think it's gonna be that interesting. Yeah, here so far they're doing very well. Again, not that much to complain. As you can see, they have big lands, big spaces between neighbors. Probably they know everyone, I think, here, because they are very, I mean, not that close to, as we can see with others, but you just have that nice sweet spot. It's like when you don't living like, for example, like this one, I don't think they're living that jamming together. No, this one is pretty good too, but clearly much closer to each other. That's probably the limit that should go. They should be as close as you legally should be able to build next to your neighborhood. That's it. Anything closer than that, it should be illegal, in my opinion. You just clearly have some nice space. Front yard, backyard supposed to be even bigger. Look at the garage here. That's nice. Detached from the house, not inside the house. I really like that. Probably, again, this is gonna be like a very expensive neighborhood. I mean, like a bit more trees here and there. It's probably gonna be like 10 times better, but even like that, it's still very well, very nice. Yeah, overall, living in this place like that should be the minimum. That should be a ghetto, I would say, should look exactly like this, which is, yeah, not exactly a ghetto, but the lowest income possible. That's how it's supposed to be. Exactly this one. And I don't think it's impossible. They have the land, they have even the construction materials. They just need to push a bit for the lower legislation, lower bureaucracy, and they're gonna do pretty well for themselves. Here, the roads are not exactly in the best shape, I would say, but again, the distance between houses very well. Housing on the low side, I don't like those ones. What we saw a bit earlier, that was better. That should be, like I said, the minimum. But here again, it's not so bad when you compare with the rest of the world, not just with the rest of America. It's a huge difference. What is that? The Nutcracker, I think. I'm not sure exactly. They it's like a barn looks here. They're doing well. They're doing well here for sure. I mean, look at those cars. Look at those trucks. Not sure exactly why you need a truck in this part of the country, but people seems to like it. They like Mazda also, pretty good cars. I like this color. I like this white too. I mean, this is pretty good. It's like I say, the minimum of the minimum should look exactly like that. And look how much you can see here. They have even nice river here, probably from the boat or a ski jet. Wow, that's pretty good. I didn't know you can make those on the ski jet. That's pretty nice. Have a ski jet and enjoying the life right here. And let me tell you something for those guys that don't like the noise that they make, like those like ski jets, motorcycle, ATVs and all that. Probably you have the last 5, maybe 10 years of this noise. And trust me, we cannot wait to move on the electric one, especially for those off-road vehicles. Like, can't wait for that. So yeah, in case you are worried about that, don't worry. 5-10 years and it's all gone. That's it. You're gonna like to hear about like a 2-stroke engine again, and most likely you're never gonna see that. You're gonna hear that again. Here, house is a bit too close, I would say. So yeah, that should be illegal. But overall, they still look pretty nice. I mean, clearly an American way of living. That's how it's supposed to be. That's why I guess a lot of Europeans getting attracted. Look at this. They have a golf course here. That's nice. Attracted of those American lifestyle. Yeah, they have a lot of huge issues with like police is the first one. They suing each other for everything. A lot of bureaucracy there. So that would be like the main problem there in the United States. But if they fix that, I mean, I have to be honest. If they are the same level as Europeans, let's say economically and all that stuff, people are still gonna go for the US. I mean, like it's way better. This neighborhood not so much. I don't like I said, that's for me. I don't like jamming houses together and forcing people to live that close. That looks more like Netherlands almost. But yeah, the Americans have a lot of space. You can go outside very easily, especially if you don't have to go to work every day, or you have your business, or again you're living off the dividends or whatever. Clearly a much better way of living. But here, look at this. They have even nice streets. Although very jamming together, but still pretty good. Pretty good. I'm not sure exactly why this guy needs a track again, but probably they enjoy those because how they look and it's culture and tradition, which I understand that. Yeah, I think Europeans overall, they don't have a chance. I mean, we put up a good fight. We have centuries and centuries of the world domination. We explore the world. We build America pretty much. So, Americans have to take over from now. Yeah, they have their civil war, they have their independence war, they have their 2 world wars that they fight. Now they're preparing for the second civil war. I mean, there was gonna be battles no matter what. That's how it's happened when you force, I would say, people to live together. It's gonna be some sparks from time to time. It's normal. It's not like something like the liberal says. The world is not gonna change. The map is not gonna change. The things as you can see it right now, that's how it's gonna be. No, the map is gonna change, the world is gonna change, everything is in a motion, everything, it's a constant change. That is the only constant that we have, for God's sake. Change. But again, for the next 500 years, I would say, well, 500 years, that's quite a lot. 500 years, maybe a bit too much, maybe 250 years. I mean, this year is gonna be like how much is gonna be? 250 years, yeah, from the American independence. So probably for the next 250 years, Americans still, they will have a up trajectory overall, I would say, compared to Europe. Yeah, in Europe, we kind of, as they call it, the old continent. We got tired here. We are kind of done here. It's just, we put out, like I say, put out a good fight. We explore the world. We civilize it as much as we can. Oh, look at this, so close to New York. Probably gonna live better in a neighborhood like this. Let me check this one. A bit closer to each other, but still better than New York, for God's sake. Wow, that's a nice E-Class there. Ooh. And even this one, it's a Buick. In Europe, is like an Opel, I think. Pretty good. Wow, they look pretty nice. Look at the smoking lights. tail lights looking pretty good. So yeah, if you are Americans, probably gonna have some problems, but there are no more problems for when you live with people again. You don't have to. Wow, look at the 7 Series. That's a rich neighborhood, for God's sake. But yeah, for the next 250 years, you're still gonna be better than Europe overall. So not that much worry, I would say. For Europeans, again, we got tired. Some of us, they're gonna depends how they fix the legislation with the migration. Probably, like I say, they're gonna start taking more Europeans than Latinos and African countries and Asians in the future. Wow, this is 2008. Look how change it was. And yeah, probably gonna see like a lot of European population. I'm not saying like a lot of European population, but like 10% maybe. So even 10% for the next by the end of the century, probably like 10% is gonna be like, whew, especially from the European ones. How much is gonna be like 50 million people or something, which is huge amount of people. But again, they're gonna stop and then deport the those people that came from the second and third world countries. So anything south of the border with the United States, they're gonna be gone. So not to mention Somalis and all that stuff. So they're gonna have some fill that void, that emptiness, and probably it's gonna be with most likely with the Europeans, like people from the west of Europe, people from the center, even from the east. We're gonna see a few that goes there. From the east, things are a bit better than the west when it's about, let's say, this new politic culture, I would say, I would call it. This is a really rich neighborhood, for God's sake. Look at this Tesla, Porsche. Wow, it's close to New York, so I guess I was assuming pretty much right. Then they don't want to live in New York in that nonsense, so they go here to have like a much better property, much bigger house, much quieter neighborhoods, and they live a better life. So yeah, I guess I was a bit right on that. So yeah, I see some migrate changing, I would say. I will call it, yeah. I mean, look at this, how many people. Wow, how much they build here. It's a nice beach here. Let's check this one. So yeah, I see like another population replacement. This time is gonna be a migration replacement. How about that? A migration. Wow, who buys an Alfa Romeo here in the United States? It looks nice, I get it, but still. We're gonna start talking probably after the Civil War, most likely. Oh, that's a really nice house. Wow, look at this. I hope it's a house. It looks like a goddamn hotel or a restaurant, for God's sake. I mean, how many the cars. They keep cars pretty nice here. Yeah, they're doing well. You're not gonna see that in Europe. There is no space to do something like that. There is no culture to do something like that. That's a nice Volvo. Wow, that's a really good car. I don't know who's the owner, but this is 2021, but that's a really nice car. I mean, look at that. So yeah, probably after the Civil War, we're gonna start talking about the 2016, the migration replacement of the old migration, not the native population, because we're gonna see those people from the Western Europe most likely, and pretty much on the Europe overall, migrating the second big wave, I would call it, in the United States. You're not gonna see that much change comparing with what you see with the Muslim and the Africans and Somalis and Asians and Indians. You're not gonna notice, not even close, when your white fellow is gonna join in your neighborhood. And in Europe, it's gonna be a different story. And those people that probably they're gonna get pushed out from the United States, most likely they're gonna end up in Europe. So again, it's gonna be like Europeans truly gonna move out of the Europe after the discovery of the United States and also funding of the United States 250 years ago. They're gonna see more and more Europeans actually. Wow, look at those poles here. That's really nice. Actually moving here in the New World, as it was pretty much. Wow, that's a leaf right there. I know they take it with them, I guess, this leaf, and now they spoil the camera. It is what it is. So you're gonna see the finish, I would say, from what they start 250, not even 250 years ago, like 500 years ago, when they move start moving from Europe to United States when it was clearly a much more relaxed policies for Europeans to move there. Probably that's gonna come back at some point. Relaxed policies for Western countries, for European countries to actually migrate in United States after they clean up the disaster that the old governments, let's say, left behind. Some of them, not all of them, obviously, but somebody has to clean that up. And there are gonna be a lot of people that they want to go there, especially with American. They're gonna fix the economies and they fix the problems that they have. You are gonna see a lot of Europeans go there, and you're gonna see a lot of third world countries people moving to Europe again. So Europe has to fall. It's just the way it is. We ruled the world, let's say, for many years, and yes, all of that came with price. It sucks when it happens. Again, nobody wants that. Oh, this is a really rich area. I mean, look, everybody has a pool, everybody has a nice house. They're doing very well here, and this is more than 10 years ago, for God's sake. Yeah, I guess for Europe, it cannot last. Europe is just, it's already over in Europe because, like I said, they have so much migrants. I don't care who comes to the politics right now and say, you know what, we can then kick those people out. Everybody who came out here, even they have a citizenship after 1990s, okay, has to go back, which is insane even to think about it, even insane to apply that. So yeah, nobody's gonna. I don't care how much. Even in England, they say the reform party of Nigel Farage is gonna fix. No, it's not gonna fix anything. It's just he can't. He got too far away to fix anything from this point. So yeah, in Europe, it's over. It's just when the Muslim is gonna take over every church that they have, even Notre Dame probably in France, they're gonna get demolished. They're gonna see mosques. We are gonna see probably a wide, very small minority in all over the Europe, especially in the west of Europe. A bit bigger, probably still majority in the east of Europe, but in the west and center, yeah, like I said, they're gonna move to the United States 100%. That'll be like the last resort, you know. And who knows, maybe 250 years from now, we're gonna see like a new, some sort of a crusade coming from the United States to Europe to liberate it. God knows, nobody knows how it's gonna be, but from now on, from this century, we're gonna see much more migrants. Western of the Europe is gonna be a minority, white minority there 100%. And we're gonna start to see a lot of whites moving in the United States. Probably if they are smart and they start, I don't know, investing, I guess, in the United States from now and buy properties, not in a, like I say, expensive one, even like a, I don't know, the cheapest they can find with a nice house with a really good, wow, look at this, nice, really good views, even though, let's say, you don't have that much work there to find or stuff like that. It's just, people usually move because they have like a better job in some place or things like that. Here, again, the same story, this in this timeline, but with the, wow, look how big this state is when you zoom out. And look how nice that part was. That was really part because it's close to New York and it's going to be really expensive and rich. What I can assume is going to be cheaper, probably here. Let's check this one, probably. Again, because it's not that much infrastructure here, so yeah. Probably, yeah, it's going to be a much better bet for the Europeans to just... Oh, that's a nice Porsche. What is that? I don't remember exactly the name. It's a 992? Oh, no. I think it's a 992? I don't know. But they look really nice. It's the air-cooled one, I think, like 4-cylinder. Yeah, that's what I see for the future, for the end of this century and the next one. If you want to visit Europe, do it now, because you're not gonna see you're not gonna have the opportunities much longer. For England, for British people, yeah, I think it's over. We're gonna start seeing, wow, that's a nice Audi. Somehow they look better on the American streets than they look on the European ones. Weird thing, yeah, I know, but it does. Yeah, for British people, especially from England, I think we already start to see not a huge migration, obviously, but you start to see like they're going in the United States, and yeah, they leave behind everything that they have there. Probably they just sell everything they have. If you get lucky, and they have like a good skills, I would say, you sell everything you have in England. You buy some house in nice land, not in a major city, so that's going to be probably more expensive than you can afford. But it's a place like this, you can buy it, and then try to figure it out a way to live from what you can do. Like I say, when you're gonna have like basic income or something like that, that's gonna actually, or even no prices for God's sake at some point. It's gonna be a much different story. You're gonna see a lot of people moving out of the city, like I said, and yeah, it's gonna be interesting to watch that. Hopefully, I'm gonna see that in my lifetime. I hope so, but I don't know for sure. Yeah, if you're living in a place, I mean, look at this. For example, yeah, it's gonna be a much cheaper house than what we saw earlier. A house like this, 100%. But look at this, how nice it is here. Have a nice green spaces, open spaces, not that much traffic. Even the weather was good, for God's sake. Two-door garage, maybe a three one if you can remove that cow there. I mean, this is gonna be much cheaper to buy. Yeah, it's not gonna be like we saw those with the pools, but a house can be demolished and make a brand new one. A pool can be made. You can add those with time. What you cannot add, it's like the land, pretty much, most of the cases. So yeah, that's what I'm saying. It depends if you, let's say, if everyone who lives in this area, for example, is gonna get a check, no taxes, no property taxes, no bullshit like that. So clean, you own the house, everything. Everyone get a check for $5,000 at minimum, and the prices right now that they have right now is gonna be at least twice or four times cheaper everything, and you get 5,000. Like you get 20,000 per month every month. In today money, let's say, and you get that doing nothing. I mean, like the government just, like I said, they print the money pretty much. But in this case, it's different because we, let's say, improve also the production much better. So you don't have like inflation, and you don't have differences between supply and demand. A lot of people is gonna move to those places. I mean, like those is gonna get, let's say, colonized in a way. What I cannot know for sure is when that, it's not gonna be utopia, for God's sake. We're talking about humans, so no. So when that is gonna came to alive, and we're gonna see a lot of migration from Europe, because United States is gonna put probably some harsh rule on everyone else. Everyone from Europe, they're gonna get like I don't know, a green card or something like that, like just snapping their fingers. That's very easily. From the rest of the world, they were not. But even if you have that, even if, like I say, paychecks every month for nothing, you're living in nice neighborhoods, you're enjoying the life, you're using those money to, I don't know, buy food, buy gas or electricity. You don't have even gas back in the future. You spend most of the days wandering in the woods and take photos. You go to the beach and enjoy life. We talk to people, you help them with whatever they need. You go to a restaurant, you have a really nice time. I mean, like really good life. Even the crime is going like I think, like Trump says at some point, like 80 or 90% of the problem, the crime in a country, comes for like 2 or 3% from the population. So you're gonna see with time that the crime is gonna go so low. Even the police is gonna be forced to acknowledge that they don't need that many people, and also they don't. Because again, I got another gay flag. They need to soften the rules also. So especially if you have like, again, more white population and more European ones. Ooh, even then, I would say it's still not gonna be perfect because we talk about humans. But I'm interested in seeing that if that came to true and you have the money, or you have, like I say, extremely low prices, or for free, for God's sake, some of them, people, they still gonna keep those connection with others, or it's just gonna be like the rich people today. Again, it's kind of hard to judge the rich people because they are rich people, they are living, but they're living in this environment, even they. But it's gonna be interesting to see if the poor population that over the sudden became rich, or at least They don't worry about anything. They gonna, wow, that's a really nice fall here. They really go for isolation, or they going for the even more connection with the others. That would be the main event, I would say, the main question. Which one is gonna be, in which way we're going, because that's gonna dictate a lot. Wow, look at this. I just see a house here. I mean, look at this, for example. It has a pool, has a nice individual housing here on the properties. I mean, that's how it's supposed to be. See, that's how it's gonna be at some point. But also have to take in care, like, let's say they kick out 50 million people in the next 50 years. That's a nice beetle, by the way. And they replace those people from third world countries with full Europeans, or full whites, full Europeans. Clearly the classic American style, I would say. The classic American colonial, the good old days. And now they say by the end of the century, the population in the United States is going to be around, roughly, let's say, with 50 million, 500 million people, sorry. 500, half a billion people are going to be in the United States alone. United States and Canada, but I'm talking about United States now. You have a stable population at some point, or you're still going to see going down. That's going to be another main question is going to be, I mean, like, if you provide everything and you don't have to worry. So far we see that, yeah, you have more, but you have less kids because it's much more complicated and all that stuff. But it's going to be interesting how much money Biden, look at this. Fuck America, what is that? Oh, fuck Biden, I think. Okay. I thought it was supporter from the Democrats, but I guess he's not. Ready State Senate. I don't know. It seems like Democrats or Republicans, for God's sake. It's weird. Look at this motorcycle, the dirt bike, very nice. So the question is gonna be, in which way we going? Because the main problem for the popular, especially for the whites one at least, is gonna be like privacy and freedom of speech and all of that. That's gonna be the main problems for the Western worlds. But again, we fix, let's say, the economy, we fix food, we fix housing, we fix everything now. It's like everyone has like a great life. Nobody has to work. You get a paycheck, or like I say, everything free, whatever. Then what? Then is the question what? And then because they have to answer the bigger question now, because we fix all those noise in the background, I will call it, which is very important today, but it is noise. In the future, they're gonna look at us and see, what do you mean they go to work for food, for money? I mean, they work, and how well they're working, because they probably by the end of the century they're gonna say people doing a worse job than robots, 100%. I mean, like, even today you should start like buying something that was made by a machine. It's much more exact, much more well finished if it's a good machine, obviously, than what a human can do, and much faster also, and better quality, cheaper, faster. Oh, I like those stones here, looking pretty nice. So probably the next generation is gonna be like, what do you mean people work? They're doing a bad job working. They don't know, the people, they don't know how to work. They don't want to work. They just doing a bad job. I mean, like, you lose materials. They do mistakes. They do all of that. Like, it's not economically valuable to have humans at the work. It's just nonsense. That's gonna be how they think. Obviously, much different than we have. So then you have to answer the bigger questions, like what exactly it's about life. It's not about work. It's about family. I mean, you're gonna die one day. You're not gonna see them again, most like, I don't know. Nobody knows what's happened after you die. So, and also those members, I mean, you can lose your kid, for example, and you have like 50 years more to live, and how supposed to cope with that? I mean, there's going to be a lot of questions that's going to start popping up, and probably like the philosophy, they're going to have a huge comeback, and those people that study philosophy, even now, they might dying from hunger right now, but in the future, they're going to be like really well seen. Like, they're going to go to them like a priest to answer the question and have a discussion with them or something that makes them a bit more interesting. That's a really nice road. It's the first one. I mean, the first one of the few ones that we see at no pave, but yeah. So that's going to be interesting for those philosophers, I would say, the new generation. because you have to start some question. It's like, what exactly it's about life? It's not about work, because the robots, they do a much better job than us, and everything, like I say, it's free, or God knows, you get paychecks, so it pretty much is free. Also, you don't have to exchange money. Yeah, probably the government is gonna give you the money just to have like tools, I would say, to not control, to just keep some sort of a oh, that's really nice here. Not, I want to say illusion, but keep some sort of a, pattern, let's say, in place. It's a really nice house here in this one. So yeah, imagine like no economic issues whatsoever. You don't have to look for a job. Probably very few people works, and those who works, they're doing a very good job, and they work very few hours, like 4 hours, 3 days a week, something like that. I don't know. But the question is, it's gonna have like a huge population that's gonna start to question, putting those questions out, like, what is about life? What is supposed to do? I mean, like, you have fun, we're gonna have fun like 10, 15, 20, 25 years. At some point it's gonna get old, even this fun, and you're gonna start questioning, like, and that will be the question for me, would be like, when we start doing those questions. That was a nice bike there, by the way. We're gonna see the population going down again, and if we see it going down from there, can we have any, I don't know, hope they're gonna bounce back? The only thing that I can see having a real purpose, but not again, not for many of us. We're just gonna watch probably on the phones or on the TV, and we're gonna be proud of that. No question about it. It's gonna be like exploration of the planets and colonization of the new worlds. That would be really nice in comparison with what we have here, I would say. When, yeah, you have a good life and everything, again, it's for free. Look at the police is here, probably like they get to a call, maybe the policeman lives here. It's not exactly a great house, but it is what it is, I guess. So the question, oh, look at those trees, so nice. So the question is gonna be, okay, this guy enjoying this life. Oh, let me back again. Yeah, they have those motors machines. They're doing pretty well. So yeah, it's gonna be the huge questions, like what it's life, what it's all about here. And yeah, we have some nice events, like I say, going on Mars, for example, or other planets, or discovering even a simple form of life outside the Earth. Those will be really great. I don't want to say distractions, but it's going to be really good events in human history. But the question is, I am an advocating of the lowering the population. Obviously, what's happened in the last 200 years was absolutely insane. And some generation, we will pay the price for that, and we will pay the price. That's we will pay the price for that. But the question still remain after you fix the economy, because it's gonna be fixed at some point. It cannot last that much. What now? What we doing now? We have everything. We don't worry about car trouble. We don't worry about housing, food. Maybe in the next century, you're gonna fix even privacy. This one, that's gonna be the main battle. Migration, again, no issues here in the Western world. You get lucky, born here, you're settled for life. I guess I make those videos again for the Western world, not for the rest of the world. That's gonna be so different issues there. Doesn't make that much sense, to be honest, for me to go in those videos. Wow, this is like, guys, is truly living in the woods here, which is nice, but I would prefer a better house, to be honest. But still a much better place to live than a city. So yeah, that would be like the question that we have to ask. Even today, if we don't jump that high with spending, if we don't buy the newest and most expensive car that we can afford also, but still the most expensive. Same with houses, same with vacation and all that and stuff that we buy. We kind of are already in that bracket, I would say. And those simple people that they have those simple lives, they already start questioning, putting those questions out there. What exactly is the point? I mean, we came here, we buy a house, or we have a house, we have a car, we're moving around. Sometimes we go to work, or maybe I get some time off from time to time because I put some money aside and I want to take a year off or something like that. Some people can do that, not all of us, obviously. Wow, that's a huge land here. And probably have like a small house. Let me check this one. Yeah, that's the house, and this is a huge land. Wow, that's pretty good. Yeah, I don't know who this guy is. That's how everyone's supposed to live, my opinion. Um, yeah, those people start to question though, put those questions like, now what? I mean, yeah, I could have, let's say, if I work a bit more and I work, I don't know, harder, as the American says. But let's face it, when you work harder, you have to have like a really good job, and that really good job to make some, I don't know, some benefits. I would say not just the money. You need to believe in what you're doing. So you have less and less those jobs every day. So yeah, oh, that's a nice Subaru. So that's for most of us, it's out of the question. No, the question it is, now what? I mean, you can have like say a better car, a better house, more vacation, food better. I'm not sure exactly about that, but you're still falling uh, with those questions. And also we have like the the how they call it now, the rich poverty. I think even the rich one, they get impoverished because everything that they buy, they got so expensive. They don't want to fall behind others people, so they spend like $500,000 a year, and they still being poor, which is weird for us, but for them it's something normal. I think it's gonna help us because even the rich gonna realize that this system cannot go like that. It's insane. Even start to affect them, which is again crazy, but real in the same time. Um, so yeah, the question is still gonna be like, now what? We have everything. We gonna fix even the, like I say, the crime, the police, the justice system. You fix all of that, or at least you don't. It doesn't happen to you. Even today, it doesn't happen to me most of the time. But it's not exactly a good policy to go not care about some issues just because it didn't happen to you. Uh, oh, that's pretty interesting here. But yeah, the question is gonna be, now what? Some people is gonna say have kids, have all of that, but even if you do, some people are gonna have those kids, one, maybe two, and then again, what? Kids are gonna be gone at some point. They have to move out. They have to go enjoy their life and all that, and you're still gonna be left alone most of the time with those questions. Now what? So that's I am the most worried about it in a way, because how you fix that? How we didn't came with an answer. Even the religion didn't came exactly with an answer that we like, let's say. um, so it's a really issue. So I guess even the governments kind of knows that, and they try to drag that to happen as far as way as possible. But with the economics that we have those days, clearly, you cannot risk it like constant war. You're gonna go for, yeah, you're gonna have everything very affordable or for free, and you have to deal with those questions on the individual level most likely. Yeah, you're gonna have some people like they came in together and they talk like having American like something like support group or something like that, but even that's not gonna work. It's not gonna get you that far away. So they still on the individual level, which is weird. Again, most of the question, yeah, you can have like meetings every week with your neighbors and parties with your families and friends, and that's gonna help. But keep in mind, those family and friends, they have to answer the same question that you have. And now, wow, that's a brilliant. Look, see, I told you when we make those when we make those videos in Africa, we're gonna see those nice rock walls, stone walls, how nice it is, and I really like it. I mean, that's a really nice neighborhood here to live with. But even here, like I said, you're gonna have to answer the questions. I have everything. I enjoy my life. I got born here, and I enjoy the first 20 years of my life so great. I did everything that I possibly want, but now I have another 80 to live. So what am I gonna do with the rest of them? I can't just repeat things because it's gonna get bored. So wow, I mean, look at this. Yeah, that's a nice neighborhood. I mean, look at the green, great, great views. Yeah, the road with some repairs, but how nice it looks here. I'm not even worried about it. Wow, look at this one. That's America to me right there. That's how you imagine America, especially here in this part. Wow, look at these plants. really nice. I mean, somebody really works. I don't know, maybe they pay someone to take care of those, but it really looks very nice. Very American here. God knows when you go to Los Angeles and those dumpster neighborhoods there, it's gonna be a huge differences. But here they look absolutely great. The last state in New England, Connecticut, did look great. So yeah, that's the main issues that I have. What would be the answer to that question? I mean, a lot of people is gonna fall behind 100%, and they're gonna check out earlier in life. Like I say, probably in the next 20, maybe 30 years of your life, you're gonna do very well and gonna do whatever you want, and you're gonna have a full life in those few years. But now you have to deal with the next 70, 80 years, and how you're gonna do that. You can repeat it. It's just, it's not gonna make that much sense for most of the people. So again, it's gonna be interesting. I mean, I look at those suicide statistic and we see more for a different reason. Obviously, it's not exactly honey and milk there. But for the first time, we see more suicide in a highest, and not just upper high, highest incomes people. Those they make, I don't know, 1 million a year or something like that, compared with the absolute impoverishment people in the world. So that should tell you something, in my opinion. That is gonna be some sort of a warning sign, if you want, because money it's nice, but when everybody's gonna have it, it's gonna seem that it doesn't fix exactly everything, and now you have to. It's don't make me. Uh, I'm gonna look like an hypocrite, like a hypocrite. Uh, it's better to have money than no money, 100% sure. But again, when we're gonna have it, then the question is gonna start coming out, and we don't have an answer for that. Religion doesn't have an answer for that. Governments doesn't have an answer for that. Mm, we don't. We never were probably in a place in our entire existence that we don't have to worry about shelter, food, safety, and all of that. And now we are free to think of those questions, and we don't have an answer. Maybe we're gonna find one. Who knows? But I highly doubt that. In the same time, that we're gonna come up with a good answer at least. Yeah, those neighborhoods here again. That's how it's supposed to be. A lot of trucks here. We have Ford Ranger here. Wow, that's pretty good. That's usually in European roads, not in American ones, but they have it here, I guess. Yeah, uh, pretty hard question to answer. And like I said, the economic in the future is gonna look great. Now we have like probably the last push. This one, that's why it feels so hard. That it will be fixed. But yeah, it will be interesting. It will be interesting to see how we evolve by the end of the century, especially here in the Western world. How it's gonna be. Here in Connecticut seems already pretty good. Yeah, the question is like what you do for money. Who has a cooler job? Who gets paid more? But again, it's not gonna last that much longer. So all those people that we see here in those small houses, maybe not those that they own it, but the kids, the grandkids that they have, the next generation, they would like to move out of here in a much better space, let's say, cleaner space. Should idea what flag is this one? It is. But you will see also some abandoned houses. Also, we're gonna keep seeing. It's gonna be interesting. I don't know. That's why those AI disturb so much, because the potential is absolutely huge. We have no idea how to use it. It's not as smart as we think it is right now. And probably, like I said, this between 2026 that we are today and 2050, we're gonna see a huge improvement in those AI and how they handle jobs and manufacturing, pretty much, because that's why. That's a reason why you have inflation. That's the only reason. The government probably is the main reason. And but you will be able to buy everything. This one for free, almost free. Cars, same. I mean, like it's gonna be a whole different system that we don't even imagine. I mean, imagine this: 200 years ago, you take a person and you teleport, let's say, today, and see all of that, and you see like this is not how we imagine it's gonna look. That's absolutely insane, in a good and bad things also. But we have cars. You're moving. You put your body in those objects, and they transport you so fast and in such a good comfort, whatever you want. That's great. I mean, electricity. You just push a button and you have heating. Wow. Hot water. Unbelievable. You don't stay outside when it's rain. When you don't you don't feel the rain. Yeah, you don't hear the wind between your I don't know, your windows or something like that. I mean, I would be absolutely crazy for them. So yeah, for us, it's common sense. It's like, yeah, it's like, where is supposed to go? Where is supposed to live? Like a cave? No. So that's gonna be with the next generation. Like, how? What do you mean, people who used to work? I mean, like, who trust them with work? We trust them with tools. I mean, like, people used to, let's say, for example, drive this excavator. Who trusts them? There's no way I'm gonna trust a human doing that. Or taxi drivers be like, another, you put your life in another humans, like, you trust them that much with your life driving you around. Some people are still gonna drive because they like the experience, but most of the people just gonna be like, we have self-driving cars. We like to call them flying cars. They're not gonna be flying cars. They're gonna be like flying drones or something like that. It's not gonna be flying cars, but you're gonna have like cars on the road that you're gonna go to a restaurant, you want to drink. Yeah, you don't have to worry about the DUI or something like that. You just press a button, the cars comes to you, and you go wherever you want. Even for those cars, probably it's gonna be a higher speed limit, so you're gonna go even faster when you want to go. There's gonna be all kind of the advantages. Yeah, you're still gonna have like I said, like your ATVs and off-road vehicles to enjoy, to break your bones outside the main roads. You're still gonna do that. But even like I say, it's like I like to compare like self-driving cars with a manual gearbox. I like to compare it because, especially for the Americans, they go for the automatic gearbox. They don't go back to the manual. And the same is gonna be with the next generation, not with your generation. You're gonna be driving the car fine, no problems. You're not gonna see anyone like forbidding driving the cars. Maybe on the highway, but it's not that much on the highway anyway. So probably on the highway or high-speed roads, you're gonna be required to just have the car in the full self-driving mode. It could be a requirement, but it's kind of boring to drive on. You're already doing that by using the cruise control, so I guess it's not gonna be much of the difference for you. But yeah, for the next generation, it's gonna be like, I don't want to go to drive to have a taking a test to get a driver's license. I don't want to do all that nonsense. I just want to have a car, buy a car or get a car, whatever, and go places by myself or just a few small group of friends. And I want to press a button and I go there like, I don't know, on the highway 200 miles an hour, something like that. In these ones like 50 or 60 miles an hour, because again it's a self-driving car. You don't have to worry about hitting something, I guess. And a lot of people are gonna take it because they can stay on the phone. Maybe they can talk with their friends while they're driving. They can eat, they can nap, they can do all kind of stuff, and don't have to be patient. I mean, look, that's a nice Golf here. Wow, looking pretty good. There are gonna be some people that drive the cars again, no problems. But with time, you're gonna see that fading. You're just gonna see like, yeah, doesn't make that much sense. I lost a lot of times. You're gonna see a lot of people going for the off-road vehicles also. It's gonna be like, yeah, much far more fun driving there. Like, you don't drive that much. They're already electric, so don't make pollution, don't make noise. The tires is gonna be biodegradable, so you don't even have that as a problem. It's just, yeah, you're gonna use that too. But you're gonna see a lot of motocross, I guess. Tracks when you're just gonna go there, break a few bones, and go back home and never touch it again for most of the people. But you're gonna have like freedom of doing that. It's not gonna be like it's gonna forbid everything. Even the driving is not gonna be forbidden. But people are not gonna use it. The next generation, our generation, yeah, we like it, we love it. Especially Americans also love it. But American loves kind of love the road trips. You don't have to drive it on the highway. You don't have to be, I don't know, that focus. And probably if you go with the statistic, you're gonna see much. I mean, much. Every car probably that they have a cruise control. Look at this car here. That they have. It's a Jeep. That they have a cruise control. They're gonna use it almost 100% on the long journey on the highways because it makes sense, right? So the same gonna be with the self-driving cars. They're gonna say on the highway you're gonna use it anyway. So you're gonna use the self-drive, and it's much easier to have a soft for that for self-driving cars on the highway, just straight lines. Yeah, you can have some problem with the construction sites probably, but that could be fixed very easily. So in country like Western world, when they have a lot of highways, they're gonna be no problems, or at least very few. So yeah, I can see in next 25 years that we're gonna say you can only drive on the highway if you have like a full self-driving mode, and you're not gonna worry that much about it because you kind of actually enjoy it. You're already doing that on the highways or expressways. I'm not sure if they have expressway in USA. In Europe, they're just a bit. They're like a highway pretty much. Just they have like, I don't know, uh, a lower speed limit, but not that much lower. Although it's like probably it's gonna be like the speed limit of the highway in the United States, because in Europe it's much higher, the speed much higher the speed limit, and the expressway they kind of have the same limit as the American highways. So yeah, probably on those roads, which we increasingly having more and more of them. Wow, that's an interesting color. That's an RS3. What the fuck? Why are you gonna do with an RS3 on the road? It doesn't make any sense to have an RS3 on the road. An S3 is more than enough, and it's a lady that driving, so I guess they're pretty rich. I guess again, that's probably like 60 grand there. Doesn't make sense for those cars anymore on the road. I have to be honest with you. An S3, it's much more than enough. Even an A3 right now, it's with the high spec one, it's already too much. An S3 is like overkill. An RS3 just doesn't make any sense. That's why you don't see an RS8, just an S8. It doesn't make sense for them to build an RS8. So yeah, with the way they're gonna do things in the future, it's gonna be different than we're doing today. And even on those roads, even I probably gonna use. I like to drive, and sometimes I like to do, let's say, if I would still have a car, and I don't have it anymore, to do some short trips and enjoying that driving. Especially here, I am living in a main city here, so not that much enjoying. But if I live here, I'll be pretty nice. But probably I'm gonna use like some sort of an electric bike or a motorcycle. I mean, like much better than even than a car driving at some point. But even I can see myself going for this full driving mode, full autonomous mode, and just let the robots take the wheel. It just makes sense on so many levels. But on the highways and expressways, that's gonna come very soon. And I am interested to see if the insurance goes down, if the accidents goes down. It'd be interesting to see. If that actually translates in something. More likely supposed to be, but we will see. So yeah, I don't want to drag this video longer. I mean, we see the states, it looks absolutely great. Some good areas, some bad areas. Yeah, clearly difference by income. It's just the way it is. You get divided by, unfortunately, by the money you make. So far, hopefully in the near future, that's not gonna be the case no more. I don't know how short that, how long it's gonna be until we see that, but 100% we're going for that. But yeah, overall, comparing with the rest of the world, not even close. This is way better, way better. And from what we saw in United States so far, this is the 6th video, the 6th state, the last one in New England. I think it's very nice and very pretty. So whatever you wanna say, whatever you're living in this area, clear on the coastline here, probably gonna have not exactly rich people here. As you can see, they still gonna close each other in those houses, but wow, that's a really nice bay to have here. Enjoying the life, staying here, just getting a nice sunny day, go down on the beach, stay there, enjoying with friends, family. That's pretty good. That's pretty good. Not sure exactly why they put those here, probably to slow down, because you don't want to hit that. That's a pretty good way way of doing things. But yeah, this is clearly rich ones. They have the American flag right there, boy. And we have a Lexus, a Japanese car, and a German kind of Porsche one. So exactly, not exactly American, a Japanese and European car. Very expensive, both of them. Very expensive house. And here we have an S-Class, I think, or an E-Class. I'm not sure. And an E-Class, an E43. Again, those AMG models doesn't make sense. The base ones, well equipped, much better. But yeah, overall, clearly rich areas here. I thought, for example, they're a bit jamming together the house and it's not going to be that rich, but no. House looking great. Cars. Very expensive, as always. But yeah, they're doing pretty well. So you can see, even there are a lot of Americans that are doing very well. The question is going to be how you can make all of them doing well. We will see about that. So yeah, I don't want to drag this video longer. I think it's absolutely great. It's a great place to live. It's so different that we're gonna see when you go even more west. I can wait for Nebraska, Oklahoma, all of those undermined states. I would say state that this seems like nobody, not like they don't care about it. It's just they don't know that much about it. They didn't see it that much. Everybody knows like New York, California, Florida, Washington. Those are kind of the main one that you see usually. Texas usually in the movies, but there's a lot of states that they're doing very well, and probably it's gonna be more suited for you, that part of your lifestyle, I would say, than the other ones that you know so much about them. I mean, for example, if somebody's gonna come to you and say, hey, you can live in the United States, just choose a state right now, would you know which one I'm gonna choose? Or is just choosing one because you know the names and you see some sort of videos? Yeah, so far it seems like every state it's a really good choice because it kind of doesn't have bad states. I'm gonna be interesting to see those Arkansas, Louisiana probably is pretty good, but Arkansas, Mississippi, Tennessee, those states, Georgia, for example, those states have a different way of doing things, I would say. And it's gonna be interesting to see how well they're doing there, because so far here in the New England, they're doing very well. And if I have to be obligated, forced at some level to live in one of those states, I know I can find some pretty nice properties there. In a case that money is no question, obviously. But yeah, if somebody forced me to live there with unlimited amount of money, from what I see so far, especially even here in Connecticut, yeah, I'm not gonna be sorry. I'm not gonna say I'm not enjoying my life there. No, it's looking pretty good, so they're doing a great job. So yeah, that was the video. If you're living in those states, especially in this one that we see in Connecticut, I know we kind of dragged the discussion in the other topics, but we saw while we came here. It looks very well, very nice put together, very clean, great streets, great neighborhoods, nice houses. Most of them, like I said, gonna be good and bad areas, I'll call it. But yeah, they're doing very well here. So it is kind of some sort of an example, I would say. Just you open the TV, you highlight somebody got shot by ICE in the Minneapolis or whatever. But they kind of left out all of those other good things that they don't want to talk about it. So yeah, at some point when you finish all, I mean, it's so many videos that I supposed to do. Unfortunately, I don't have that much support for those videos with views and comments, so I can actually motivate it even better to do them. But there's so many videos that I want to do, all the states. Then we go into, I would like to see them more in detail Australia, more in detail Canada, more in detail Russia, for God's sake, and China. And then compare the cities and the places with Europe against United States to see a difference. I mean, there is so much we can do. It's just so far it's lacking that support. That's the only thing that I see missing here. But who knows? Maybe by the time I end those United States, or every single state, all 50 of them, it is gonna change. But we will see. Yeah. That was the video again. If you're living in these states, leave a comment, share your opinion, how things are going there. Before you comment anything, I would suggest you to watch the other countries that I make and then have a different opinion. Probably it's gonna be a different opinion when you see the African states, or even Asian. It's gonna be different. Yeah, much different. But so far, America is doing very well. And I know we kind of go in those rich areas, but when we're gonna go in a different parts of the country, probably things gonna change a bit. But again, even there, they're gonna have like different culture, same but different, you know, and land possibilities and all the good stuff. So yeah, check the other videos and see you next time.